Vinod Datta for joining us today.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Kriti Mehta and you're watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's start with the breaking news updates that are coming in as far as the strikes on Venezuela is concerned. Now, US has given its first official confirmation of carrying out the strikes. A statement has come out from US President Donald Trump. He's announced that the US has carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela. And according to Trump, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife are captured and flown out of the country. He says the operation involves US law enforcement and promises further details soon. Trump schedules a news conference at 11 local time GMT today at Mar-a-Lago. Alright, that's a very big statement that's come out from US President Donald Trump. I'd like to repeat that statement that has been put out. Trump says Maduro has been captured as US has carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela. Donald Trump has claimed that the US has carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader Nicolas Maduro. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said Maduro and his wife had been captured and flown out of the country following the operation, which he said was conducted in conjunction with US law enforcement. That post of Donald Trump is on your screens, viewers. I'd request my team to stay on this statement till the viewers can read it. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. The operation was done in conjunction with US law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump putting that statement out on his Truth Social. We're talking about the leader of a country and his wife being captured by another country's president. All right, I welcome in this discussion Matty Zweig, who's a geopolitical expert. He joins us from Tel Aviv. We also have Professor Wesleyan Popovsky, who is Professor and Vice Dean at Jindal Global Law School. He joins us from Bulgaria. And we have Collings Chong Yukit, who's a Foreign Affairs Security and Strategy Analyst. He joins us from Kuala Lumpur. I want to take my first question to Professor Popovsky. Professor, what do you make of this situation? Trump has captured Maduro and his wife.
Yes, unprecedented, really almost unbelievable. I can compare this with the action against Manuel Noriega in 1989, when he was captured and delivered to face justice for drug trafficking. The president at the time, Manuel Noriega from Panama. But it is different. First of all, we have to see the charges of what exactly Maduro did in terms of drugs trafficking. These are allegations, these are claims, but not really yet proven. They need to be proven by courts, not by political leaders. So on one hand, definitely a violation of international law. Let's state that clearly. It should not be done. One country should not invade another country to remove a leader, no matter how undemocratic and dictatorial he might be, like Maduro. But on another hand, it is one dictator less in the world, so to speak, because we know that Maduro inherited another dictator of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez. The life of Venezuelans was terrible, inflation, economic loss. Many people left, many migrated to other countries. So in terms of managing Venezuela, nobody was worse than Maduro for these 11 years. So yes, violation of international law, but as a collateral benefit out of that, we have one dictator less in the world, somebody who most of the Venezuelans despised, and he simply served the small circle of his family and friends, and effectively the people of Venezuela will definitely welcome this news that a dictator is gone. Again, many questions remain. Who will be the next? There must be elections now, and but I don't think it can be worse than this, because for 11 years since he came to power, actually more than 11, sorry, 2013, it's already 12 years in power. Maduro didn't do any good for any Venezuelans that I know, at least. And it reminds us maybe the removal also of Saddam Hussein by illegal invasion of Iraq in 2003, removed Saddam Hussein. But who was Saddam Hussein? Every Iraqi will tell us he was a dictator and he was an aggressor and he used chemical weapons against the Kurdish and so on. Again, probably Maduro is not of the type of Saddam Hussein, not as worse as he was, but nevertheless, well, the judgment will come from the people of Venezuela. So I'm very curious to see the opinions from the regular people of Venezuela.
Take that question to Collins as well. Collins, Trump has now captured Maduro and his wife. These are not just strikes. Trump now saying that he has Maduro and his wife. They have been flown out of the country. We don't know their locations yet. He's going to make a big announcement. It's going to be a very important day today in international politics. How are you viewing this?
I think this is important because it's kind of it's not simply about
Please do go on.
It is about Maduro and his wife being removed from power. And as I said, it reminds Manuel Noriega in 1989, no less than that. So significant as it is, and kind of unusual for Donald Trump. Maybe it was the work of the collective authorities, the law enforcement. It definitely is not a simple decision, because on one hand, Donald Trump tried to present himself as a peacemaker. He was trying to get laureate peace nominations, but here he does exactly the opposite. This is very much the opposite of peace, invading another country, as I said, in violation of international law, removing the another country, which is violation of international law. But again, it's a mixed judgment, because it could be for the good of the Venezuelan people in long term. That is the only justification here. Some violations, in fact, can produce a better life for the people. The same happened with Saddam Hussein. He was removed by a violation of international law, by aggression in Iraq in 2003. But long term,
Venezuela now, like how's the internal politics going to shape up from here?
Well, we will see. Hopefully for the better. I think it will be a good news long term for the Venezuelans. They should be
long term. We don't know. Hopefully, sure. But what's going to happen immediately?
He's removed. The strikes will stop. People will say how they feel after Maduro very, very quickly. Tomorrow we will know what the Venezuelan people will think about. And I hope for the best of all of them. They might feel they are liberated from a dictator after 12 years in power. He lost the elections, by the way, in 2024. There were huge doubts about the fairness of those elections in 2024. And he refused to leave. He stayed in power illegally. So one violation doesn't justify another violation. Of course, that he was illegally in power since 2024 doesn't justify the military intervention to remove Maduro from power in 2026.
All right. Okay, I also have Matty Zweig in the discussion here with me. Professor Popovsky, I requested to stay on, but I want to take this question to Matty Zweig as well. Matty, Trump now making that announcement, claiming the strikes in Venezuela have indeed been carried out.
Paradigm of what has been years. And added to this, we have also a legitimate president of Venezuela, which is the person that was in the name of Maria Corina Machado. And both now are going to hopefully go back to their legitimate voters and be the legitimate government of a narco state, a failed narco state that used to be the richest country in South America and now is a complete failure. So it's a big hope and a big day for everybody in the free world.
All right, narco-terrorism, but I don't know what's going to happen to the oil reserves of Venezuela now and whose monopoly will it be subjected to. But I'd like Andrew KP Leong to answer that question for me. He's also joined us and he's a strategist who's joining us from Hong Kong.
Yes, I think that from day one, it's quite clear that President Trump's primary objective is regime change, because Maduro has always been a thorn in the side of the United States, countering Americans' interests, and it also speaks to President Trump's desire to reinsert the age-long so-called Monroe Doctrine. Because if you look at the latest national security strategy released only about a couple of weeks ago in Washington, you can see that the top of the agenda to re-exert Americans' influence in the two Americas in the Western Hemisphere, harking back to the Monroe Doctrine, and you can call it now the Donald Doctrine, and that is predicated on maintaining American-friendly governments throughout the South America. And Venezuela, of course, sits on top of that, not least because it's the world's largest oil reserves, even more than the Saudi Arabia. And then, of course, that as Venezuela kind of anti-American government falls, is a big a lesson for the others, and the hope is that there'll be a domino effect, and that would lead to a further extension of American influence throughout South America, and then would, of course, in line with the latest national security strategy released in Washington only about a couple of weeks ago.
All right, and what's your assessment of the political and the political polity of Venezuela at this point in time? Where I mean, Venezuela had already called for its people to come out on the streets to defend its sovereignty. That statement was issued by the Communication Ministry of Venezuela, but no such statement had come from Venezuela of Maduro and wife being captured. Where do you think is the internal politics going to go from here?
Sorry, what's the question for?
It's for you, Mr. Leong.
Oh, I see. Well, I mean, that's the latest reports. I mean, you got to believe it. As I said right at the beginning, it's Americans, it's Trump's primary agenda is regime change, as I said. And then, of course, part of the strategy is, of course, even before this recent blockade, the United States was already preparing an alternative leader in the form of this lady who has been given a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, just come to think of it, why a Nobel Peace Prize is conferred on this lady in the first place. So there's part of the plot really to cause the regime change.
No, as far as Maria Corina is concerned, her spokesman had also issued a statement even before Trump had confirmed that the strike was carried out by the US indeed. At the time when there was still ambiguity as far as the US was concerned, Venezuela's opposition and the political party, and Maria's spokesperson had put out a statement accusing the US of carrying out these strikes. So if a regime change is also concerned, who is it that's going to take over?
Well, the United States doesn't have to take over Venezuela.
No, in
What it
Venezuela, who's
wants
going to
is
take
really,
over from Maduro?
yeah, I mean, what it wants is a regime change, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, but who is that? Who is going to fill that position that's now vacated?
Well, as I said, I mean, there's already an alternative candidate willing to fill in the shoes, and this lady who recently got a Nobel Peace Prize.
But this lady had accused the US of carrying out these strikes. Her spokesperson had put that statement out, which is why my question to you. But anyway, I'd like Matty Zwake to take that question, please.
Hello.
Hi, Matty, please go on.
I didn't properly listen to the question, sorry.
Matty, who do you think is going to take over from Maduro? Who's going to fill the void that's been left?
I mean, Maduro now, he was playing a hard liner, talking about sovereignty, talking about defending the rights of the Venezuelans. Where was Maduro and Chavez before in the last 20 years, converting a very rich country in a very poor country that has no means to give even food to their population, even medicaments, even anything? 8 million Venezuelans left the country. The big revolutionary guards, they were only taking care of themselves. It was a little elite just stealing from the country all their wealth. So it doesn't matter where he's going to finish, in Guantanamo or in another place, but his place is in the jail. No doubt about that. And the sovereign people of Venezuela finally will be free because they already voted for the real legitimate power that must be in their country, and to determine really through democratic vote what is going to be their future.
Okay, sure. All right. I also have Professor Popovsky in the discussion with me. I believe he continues to stay with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Yes.
Professor, how would you respond to that?
Yes, I hope the Venezuelan people will have the say here, and most possibly, yes, as my colleague said, it will be basically the elected president. She was denied the office when people voted for her already in 2024, and Maduro by force stay in power after he effectively lost the election, but he announced the election as rigged, as unfair, which is exactly the opposite. And she's I see, normal successor here. She should be the next president of Venezuela. Although you correctly pointed, she said something that everybody will agree, that the intervention, the military intervention by the United States is illegal. It is a violation of international law. Everybody will agree with that. But who is the next leader of Venezuela?
Yes.
I think, again, everybody would agree that should be Machado, the lady who won the last elections. No doubt of that. She confirms that she understands international law. Okay. She's against the intervention because it violates international law. But apart from that, that we condemn the military intervention, but we congratulate the removal of Maduro, and we congratulate that Machado is the next president. I don't see much contradiction in those statements.
All right. All right, sure. So then it looks like a very significant day today as far as the Americas are concerned. We're going to watch out for international reactions as they pour in. As of now, some condemnations have come in from Colombia, Cuba, and Iran has also issued a statement. No other statement has come out from any other country as of now, but we are monitoring all those developments, and that statement of Donald Trump on a Truth Social, where he has confirmed carrying out these strikes in Venezuela at 4 of its military bases and ports, and also the fact that he has captured Nicolas Maduro and his wife. They have been flown out of the country. The location is unknown. Everybody is watching out for that crucial presser that Trump is now going to hold, where he's going to reveal all the details that everybody will be looking out for. But clearly, Trump has achieved what he had been long signaling, what he had been long intending to do. He has managed to capture Maduro, and a regime change in Venezuela is now very likely. I'd like my guests and experts who continue to remain with us to give their final comments before we wrap up this discussion for now. Matty, would you like to start?
Yes, thank you. I mean, I know I was maybe very harsh, because nobody wants to violate the international law, or to take that one country is taking a president of another country. It's a precedent that now a lot of countries are going to be trembling about what is going Donald Trump to do, if he's a kind of capriccio, what kind of thinking he's doing now about this president or another. Nobody wants that. But we are talking about a person that was illegally in his post, and he was repressing his own people. And in this case, Trump went all the way to make not only a regime change in Venezuela, but to warn others like Petro in Colombia, like Nicaragua, and like Cuba, you are next. You are next if we continue to be part of the axis of terror that has another branches like Iran and other North Korea and other places in the world.
All right. Mr. Leong, would you like to take over from there?
Well, of course, this is sits well with the President Trump's rhetoric that all countries not aligned with the United States interests would be branded in one form or another as either autocratic or corrupt or anything. But I think that it does send a very strong signal to countries around the world, and also to the international community. Exposes the whole weakness of the international institutions like the United Nations to guard against its charter, to maintain some sort of an order. Now that this the Trump 2.0 exposes this huge schism in the international law and the international order, but it is a long, tall order. I think that we are not there yet. I think the immediate reaction is most countries would be re-examining their own capabilities to defend their own national interests, their own chosen development path, even though that their paths are at odds with the United States. And I think that countries are beginning to recalibrate the relationship with one another, and not to put all the eggs in one basket, as the United States is proven to be much less reliable than thought throughout the past maybe 40 years. And so I think that this is a game changer for the international order.
Sure. Professor Popovsky, your final comments before we wrap up?
Yes, it's a big day for Venezuela. So my congratulations to Venezuelan people. They will live in a better life in the future. It's a great news. Again, I agree that the military intervention to remove a leader of another country is illegal. It violates international law. It violates United Nations. But nevertheless, this is a good news for Venezuelan people who in 2024 voted for Machado, who elected their legitimate leader, and she was denied the office by Maduro. So let's also say that Maduro is illegal leader of Venezuela since 2024. And the fact that he's illegally removed from office doesn't change the big news, which is that he must be out and Machado should be the next president of Venezuela. Venezuelan people, like all other people in the world, deserve a better life. What will be the implications for the world order is a very good question. What will happen next? We are all going to monitor that. We can compare with the removal of Manuel Noriega in 1989, also questionable under international law, but nothing bad happened after that. He was properly prosecuted in a court of Florida. He was sentenced for the drug trafficking. I think the same may happen to Maduro. He may end up in prison in Florida or elsewhere. He might be even prosecuted in Venezuela in absentia and not being present there. And we will see, but nothing dramatic, I think, although it's unprecedented. I think it will be for the better of Venezuela, and the international law needs to address that, need to judge that. But my hope is exactly like the lawyers did after the arrest of Manuel Noriega in a similar way, a president of Panama being removed by military intervention by the Americans in 1989. In this case, we might feel very similar, that although the intervention is illegal, the outcome of the intervention is very positive, very constructive, and it is for the benefit of the people of Venezuela.
All right. Thank you very much then, Professor Pofowski. I also thank Andrew K.P. Leong and Matty Zwick for joining me in this discussion. Viewers, that's the top news story of the day. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has been captured along with his wife and flown out of the country after the US carried out airstrikes at its key 4 military bases and seaports. We're bringing you every minute by minute development here at in NewsX World. Do stay tuned as more developments follow. Thanks for watching NewsX World.